Welcome to Castor Hanglands. Last week, it's the last day, in May today. June starts tomorrow. This is the best early summer orchid site in or around Peterborough. Probably the best I've ever seen anywhere, to be honest with you. At its best in about a week's time. I'm a bit like a kid coming down 2 days before Christmas and opening presents being here today. I probably shouldn't be here, but there'll be plants in flower today, and that's why I've come down here. It won't be awash with orchids, but there'll be hopefully examples of the 3 orchids that grow here, which is the common spotted orchid, the early marsh orchid, and if we're really lucky, the southern marsh orchid as well. So I'm hoping there's going to be a few plants in flower from each of those 3 species. But it's a fantastic site. If you ever come down here, get a map, look for the ponds area. It's just around the ponds area that the orchids grow, and it is an absolutely fantastic site, particularly in about a week, 7 to 10 days time. Absolutely awash with orchids. A typical common spotted orchid, there are going to be a huge variety of these growing in these fields in the days to come. They range in colour from white to dark purple. The patterns inside the flowers also vary across that range, so the permutations are absolutely huge. And the flowering heads on these can grow to 12-18 inches tall. They are very, very showy plants, very spectacular. And if you're new into orchids, these are the ones to start with, really. Come and see these. They're absolutely wonderful. I'm going to shut up and capture a few different varieties now, just so you can, different colour varieties that is, so you can just get a cross section of the different permutations you can get of the same plant. Very beautiful plants. Not a huge amount of variation at the moment. You've probably noticed, having said there's a huge variety, that at the moment they're nearly all of a broadly similar colour. But you will be finding everything right down to pure whites over the next 7 to 10 days. It just seems to be this colour scheme is the one that's breaking out first. But there are loads of them. You can see in this picture that there are in front of me now probably 30 plants in the space of about a 10 square foot area. It is absolutely worth coming down to see these. It's truly spectacular sight. It's the colouring inside the flowers is outstanding. People say it looks like faces. They say it looks like aliens inside there. You can reach your own conclusions. There are some common shapes to these patterns. If I just get it back in focus, quite amusing faces on the flowers. Kids always say anyway. But yeah, one of Mother Nature's finest creations without a doubt, the common spotted orchid. I'm now going to try and find early marsh orchid. Not an early marsh orchid, but I just spotted this one from a distance just to show there is some variety. This one is pretty much white with a pale pink colouring inside, so there is some variety appearing already, but not too much. Okay, here we go. This is an early marsh orchid. Unlike the common spotteds here, these are very small plants. They grow about 3 or 4 inches off the ground, so you've got to look down low to see these. The sun's playing havoc really with the colours at the moment. I'll get in close in a moment to show you one of the flowers, because they are beautiful flowers. They're just small and you need to get down and see them. The early marsh orchids that we have around Peterborough there's several subspecies. The one we have around here is known as incarnata, subspecies incarnata, and they're all salmon coloured. Every single one is salmon coloured, so it does help in identification because you don't tend to get this salmon colouring on any other orchid that I know of, so you know it's an early marsh orchid if you see a salmon coloured orchid anywhere. So I'm just going to try and get in a bit closer on this one in a second. A nice pair of early marsh orchids here growing alongside each other, probably off the same plant, but very healthy looking plants. Well, this is the Castor Hanglands orchid site. If you do come down, in the background there, over here, is the ponds, and it's this meadow in front of the ponds which is where the orchids grow, and as I say, in about 7 days time that'll be absolutely pebble dashed with orchids, and it's already a good site today. These things are growing very, very quickly, but yeah, a tremendous place to visit, and this is the spot to come to. So look for the ponds and head in from the road that comes from Aylesworth up to Helpston, and you won't be far off. Okay, well there you go, there's the third of the species. In fact there's a group of 3 of them here. These are southern marsh orchids, distinctly purple, always distinctly purple. They do look similar in some ways to some of the other orchids here, but a trained eye will pick these out because of their colouring and because of the patterns inside the leaves, sorry, inside the flowers as well. But these are southern marsh orchids, and this is the third of the orchids that grow here at this time of year. A nice little early marsh orchid here growing in close companionship to common spotted orchid. If you do come up here orchid hunting, the pond area is right down in the distant background behind me, but if you wander up here to really where the woods start, for reasons unknown to me, it must be something under the surface, it's a very popular spot for the early marsh orchid. You'll find more early marsh orchids up here than you will anywhere. So if you're struggling to find these little salmon pink plants, there are loads of them at this end of this particular part of Castor Hanglands. Just wanted to show you the leaves of the common spotted orchid. The actual name common spotted orchid, even though there are spots on the flowers, comes from the leaves, which are these fantastic green with brown, I suppose they're blotches really, but it's where the name common spotted orchid comes from. It's the actual spots on the leaves. you go, there's an early season peak at Castor Hanglands. It gets even better here, but it's already looking good. Big result to see all three of the species here. The southern marsh is quite a rare orchid for this part of the world, so only 3 plants, but yeah, that's a good result. So we'll come back in about a week and a half's time to see it at its peak, but even now it's worth coming down and seeing. So look out for the ponds area at Castor Hanglands and come down for a stroll. It's absolutely brilliant.